Joining us is also someone who is not a stranger to the Observer. We talk to everyone, and it's always a pleasure to have her on. Let me say a pleasant good evening to THA Deputy Chief Secretary, Dr. Faith B. Israel.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. I know you attended the panorama, and I hope health-wise you're okay and you're not under the weather.
Oh, I am fine. I am tired, but I think that is almost a normal state for me to being at this point. But I am pretty okay.
Yeah. Deputy Chief Secretary, we're hearing so many reports in the news, and we of course we get this perception many times that for some reason the bills are not being paid in Tobago by the THA. Is this something deliberately done to embarrass the THA, or is this a matter of miscommunication?
Well, I think that one of the things that government is known for in Trinidad and Tobago is the fact that we are continually behind in bills. And when you think about a THA that we came into, where we were, when we did the assessment of our debt, it was close to $1 billion. When you looked at the hundreds of millions of dollars, the THA that left, we have had to continually determine what we do with the monies that are allocated to the THA every month. To be honest, if we only paid bills, we would literally do nothing else.
Yeah.
So, I'm not. There are outstanding bills, but by no means is it a malicious thing. We are managing the situation that we have been thrown into, and when you consider that for budget after budget after budget, we continue to be underfunded. As the government of the island, we have to figure out how to allow the island to continue to run. And if we are talking about some of these contracts that were part of the audit and so forth, many of them, when you see what they claimed they did and how much they claimed to be owed, and when we see what was actually there was quite a number of queries. So we are actually very happy that we did not just rush and try to pay some of those, if those are what you are talking about.
Basically, you had the challenging task of prioritizing and of course looking at those that could be accounted for as far as documents and everything to support what the payment was for based on work done and what have you, and then of course looking at things and saying it simply doesn't add up and we need to get some as far as clarity on this before paying it out.
And that is exactly what we said to the people when we came in, and that is what has happened. You would recognize that as you go along, there are some contractors, for example, that have gone mysteriously silent, and really that is because we went through the process. We authorized or we verified what was owed, and they were paid. So if you recognize, you are hearing probably, one set of voices, and that is because the others are continually silencing themselves because payment is a continual thing that we've been doing.
All right. Now, there's some talk about Trinidad's National Carnival and Tobago's October Carnival should move towards supporting each other instead of competing. What's your take on that?
Well, I do not know that we have been trying to compete. I think what people don't understand is that even though what happens in February, March is classified as National Carnival, when you look at the resources that is allocated to Tobago for National Carnival, most of it, the vast majority of it, comes out of the coffers of the THA, not necessarily the NCC or anything like that. So the Tobago House of Assembly, recognizing the trajectory that our National Carnival was having, meaning we are literally competing with Trinidad for masqueraders, for people, for everything we are competing. And when we looked at the maths, it simply was not calculating in the way that makes sense, which is why we thought during the first year to, instead of compete, to actually have another carnival at another date, at another time, where we are not competing with anyone at all, not even Trinidad, which is why we picked those dates in October to have the Tobago Carnival. And what has been happening is that we are taking our time. We did the first year. We figured out some of the things that worked, some that didn't. We did the second year, which was significantly more successful. And what we've said very publicly is the aim is to transition what we do, majority of using the THA resources, for example, we will transition from the National Carnival period to the October Carnival so that we are not competing.
Yeah, you know, NCC Chairman Winston Gypsy Peters said that Tobago should focus on strengthening its October Carnival product and position itself as a cool-down destination after the Trinidad Carnival season. Now, looking at the logistics of that, I mean, it's easier said than done, but you've had quite a challenge with the air bridge and the sea bridge and looking to all those particulars to get it out and all the kinks out of the way to make it happen. Do you also believe, like some others, that the Trinidad Carnival, that package is sold up front and, you know, straight to the those who are traveling, rather than even putting that addition of Tobago as the cool down? So then is the onus on you and the THA to try to get that piece of the pie that Mr. Peters is talking about?
So I am not sure that this is a novel idea that Mr. Peters is proffering. When you look at the number of people who come to Tobago, for example, for Carnival, the National Carnival period, to attend all of the religious camps, for example, that are nestled throughout the island during that, 4-day weekend or so, we recognize that Trinidad and Tobago already is seeing Tobago as a place that you cool down, but not necessarily cool down after Carnival. It is a place that you come if you do not want to be a part of the revelry that happens in Port of Spain and so forth for Carnival. So we are the ones who need to figure out how to continually market that aspect of who we are, and that is part of the responsibility of the THA.
You've had those in the past who have participated in the, in the January, February season of that in Tobago, who are now saying that they're being sidelined and treated with scant courtesy. But is it that many have decided that the main focus will be October?
Many of our big bands have actually made it very public that they will not participate in Tobago in the February-March Carnival, and they would retain and their focus would be for October. So, for example, one of the biggest Juve bands and so forth in Tobago is and I've now completely blanked out on the name. Cruz's band, I can't remember the name at this point. And he has actually said they are now focusing, for Angels, they are now focusing on October. They sent out a notice to the public indicating that. And there are several other people who have said, because they see the success of October, because they recognize they don't want to compete with what is happening with Trinidad, they will focus on the October Carnival for their main production in Tobago. And that is a choice they made after looking at, what happened over the last 2 years with both sets of carnivals. And they are recognizing that this really is an opportunity, a financial opportunity that they are tapping into. And that is exactly what we are pushing, because what we are trying to tell those who are in the carnival community, whether it's the Calypsonian, the masqueraders, whoever, that a part of this is making money, and you need to do the thing that makes economic sense in addition to simply enjoying what you do.
All right. On the issue of crime, I know last year we saw some figures. I don't have them in front of me, however, but of course, we saw some activity taking place. How are you managing that situation on the Sister Isle?
Well, we have had one or two or three too many murders already for the year. And, I guess when you are comparing it to having 2 or 3 murders per night in Trinidad, it doesn't seem like anything, but for us, that is a lot. We have been working very closely with the security forces here, so the army and the police and so forth. They have been working, we've been encouraging the community communities to take back their communities. One thing that Tobagonians are known for is that we are a community people. We look out for each other. We have our own community watch, known as the neighborly Mako kind of thing. So that is what we are encouraging Tobagonians to get back to, and we are hoping that it certainly gets better as we go along. Of course, as I said before, one murder is way too many, and we've already had that.
Yeah. Based on all that has transpired since coming into office, how would you grade yourself and your team? I mean, young people coming in, having this challenge of bringing about so many things that Tobagonians request as far as change, wanting policies implemented, winning awards, of course. Tobago has won some beautiful awards on the global market. What grade would you give yourself and your team at this time?
I think I would give us between a 7 and an 8 at this point. I think we came in with very, very high expectations. Expectations of ourselves, and the people having very high expectations of us. I think that we have produced quite a bit. If you look at every single matrix, we have done probably more than the last administration did for the last 10 years that they were there. But that also includes the financial constraints coming in with all of that debt and so forth. But we keep pushing ourselves to do even better. And the Chief Sec continues to work with us and continues to have conversations with us about ensuring that we meet the needs of the people who elected us. So we're talking about the large-scale projects, but we're also talking about being on the ground in the communities and so forth. So I actually think we're doing a pretty good job, given in addition you have to consider all of the political upheaval that has happened within the 2 years, and we were able to withstand it, and we were able to grow from it, and we were able to come out and create our own new party and all of that as well. So when you consider everything that was working against us, I think we've done a pretty good job, but our aim is to always do more.
Yeah, and what do you say to the Tobagonians who still, and you did mention something about many people have gone silent. I think that they've come to the reality that it's not going to be just a matter of demanding things. I mean, if you have to look back now, we had things like scaffolding gate, we had tractor gate, these things were just there, and draining money from the THA. Looking back at it now, have you dealt with many of these things and put a stop to it?
Yes, we have. And you know what I am recognizing is, you may not hear people speak loudly, but whenever I go to anything like within the community, and it may be something as somber as a funeral where we should be there, mourning the person who has passed, individuals come up to you and they tell you about how proud they are of what we've been able to accomplish. They come up to us and they tell us that they are continuing to pray to give us strength because they understand the amount of stuff that we have had to deal with. And so they may not be speaking it loudly, but they whisper it to us, and they whisper it to us continually. And they are the ones who say, you may not see us calling into any radio station or saying anything, but we have your back. Don't worry. We have your back. And that gives us a little bit of comfort.
And would you say that those who are looking to put a challenge towards you and your team, simply bring it on?
Oh, certainly. I mean, we came into this as underdogs. We are still, in many instances, the underdogs. We do not have a political organization that is 60 years old and has the finances of contractors for, 60 years of contracts and that kind of stuff. So, but we came into this because we wanted to ensure that Tobago and therefore Trinidad and Tobago got the best that it could get, and that is what we're going to keep doing. So anybody who wants to contest us, we welcome it, but know that you are coming against people who absolutely love this island and absolutely will do what it takes to make this island the greatest little island on the planet. All right,
and I'll just give you a few seconds or minutes for those folks who are visiting us from abroad. You can make your closing comments, Deputy Chief Secretary, and of course welcome them and tell us what Tobago has to offer, and you're open for business.
Certainly, and we definitely are open for business. If you've been on the island, you would recognize that we have a buzzing pan, the pan community. The steel pans from Tobago have actually been doing very, very well. We had 2 competitions on the island within the last couple days, but we are welcoming people. If you are here and you're not so into what is happening in Trinidad, come over to Tobago. The sand, sea, sun, and food and warmth and everything is here for you. We do have other carnival activities that are happening, but it will be definitely a slower pace than what you see in Trinidad. But definitely the island is safe, the island is warm, the island is welcoming, and we are certainly open for business.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief Secretary. Good luck to you and your entire team, and do have a safe carnival. We'll be speaking to you in the near future.
Thank you, and same to you.
Thank you so much.